Welcome to the Mix, Sizzle, and Shake Your Business podcast. And let's see what we have in store for you today, because I think you're going to find some good things are going on.
Welcome to the Mix, Sizzle, and Shake Your Business podcast, brought to you by Sue-Ann at Right Mix for Business.
This is not a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday thing. What this is about is your business blog bling. The bling that you need to market to your peeps, the content that you need so your blogging hub speaks. The technical, the strategy, the who, what, how, and why will work to make your business blog a rising star, sky high. So sign up now and don't miss out for how to bling your blog and feed that hog. Thank you. And truly, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I really hope that you'll join me with how to bling your blog and feed that hog starting next week, January 10th. I'll put a link down below the video. Okay, so today we're going to talk about, as I like to on the Mix, Sizzle, and Shake Your Business podcast, we're going to talk about everything business and content. And today I'm going to hone in, I'm going to pinpoint down deep, and I'm going to hone in on your blog writing, on your writing, because writing is at the core of everything that you create digitally, in my perspective. Your writing is the key and core to your blog. It's also part of your video production, your podcast production, scripts of all sorts, and your digital marketing, your copywriting for your business with your website. Writing is at the core of all of it. So let's think about honing in on and improving our writing. And one thing I can tell you is that you will improve the more that you do it, no matter where you're starting. So one of the things that I want you to remember is that you need to edit. It's a good idea, especially at first, to get someone else to edit your work, because if you trade edits, even trade edits with someone else, one of your blogging pals, and edit for each other, however you go about it, you really need to edit your work, because your work that comes through from your writing, from your blog, is a reflection on you and your business. So you need to make it as professional as possible, and I'd like to see that be the way that you do it. So let's think about each word that we write and what we're saying, and not just what we're saying, but how we say it. So you want to concentrate on your words. You want to make each word count. You want to make every sentence have a place that tells the story that you're trying to create with what you write. And most importantly, you want to make sure that you're writing to someone in particular, some particular person, audience. Some people call it their ICA, ideal client avatar, or customer avatar. What it is the person or persons that you write to in your blog work, the customers that you serve, and the topics in your industry and that you're in your field that you are always on top of and always sharing anyway with people. So make sure that you keep that in mind, that you are writing for someone else and not for yourself in most cases. But let's see, what do I want to talk about in particular? Number one, everybody has writing tics. You know, tics that are things that you do in your writing as a regular role, and you need to eliminate them, because those are oftentimes particular to you and your writing. So sometimes it's hard to recognize those things. I know for myself, I can recognize them in other people's writing. They have a word they like to reuse over and over and over. They have a special word. For a while, we were all using awesome. Everything was awesome, awesome, awesome. That would be a word that, you know, if you repeat it, if it's your word for things, you don't want to be saying it over and over again in your writing, in your blogging, and in your content. Really, you want to have content that's interesting and exciting. And if it just repeats a word continuously to describe everything, it's not going to work. I recently edited a book for a friend that's on Amazon, and he would say, great, everything's great. Everything he described, everything he talked about in the book, he would let you know as the reader, this was great. This was great for your business. This was a great technique. This was a great tactic. This was a great thing to do. Everything was great, 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 great. So it would be so important to use a thesaurus and change that word. If you find that you're using a word repetitively in your work, you need to think about using words to describe that, but not by repeating the same thing over again. What happens is that that word becomes dry with your audience. It becomes a useless word, a word that nobody pays attention to. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You use it over and over and over again. Now, there's some, again, the ones I just mentioned might be particular to you. You have a phrase, you have a catchphrase, you have something that you're stuck on. And if you notice that, you want to delete it, edit it, and get better with it. So take note of that. That's the first tip I can give you. The next thing is there are writing tics that we all have. I know I learned this early on, and I've seen it over and over again with other people, and I edit it a lot when I'm editing other people's work. The word that. That is often a filler word. Yes, that is. So if you see the word that, if you count the word that over and over in your writing, you may be using it unnecessarily. It may just be a fluff word, and it may not be needed. The best way to test if you need the word that is to go back and read a sentence out loud. If you can read that sentence without that word that, eliminate it. If you just take out all the that's in your writing, at least for me, that was the case, then you can condense your writing considerably with a useless word being eliminated. Another word, and I do this all the time, you guys probably do it too, when you talk about you want people to work on something of theirs, like their blog, their content marketing, their business, you'll say, work on your own blog, your own business, your own. And the word own is, of course, redundant, because if you're saying work on your blog, of course, it's their own. We do this all the time, right? So there's another one that you might be able to eliminate and take out of your work right off the bat. If you can write in the present tense, that's the ticket with web writing. You want to write in the present tense. So if you can change things up to make them the present tense, you're going to be able to write so people find that things are relevant and timely and accurate just by use of that present tense. And this one is really tough for people. It's tough for me, although I feel like over time and over practice, I've gotten better at it. I think I do pretty good with writing in the present tense, but I think it's something that we all need to work more on. Get your writing in the present tense, and it makes it current. It makes it relevant. It makes it feel timely when you do that. And it seems more you-oriented. Remember the you word and not the I word? Aha, another tip. Use you, not I. Think you. Think user-centric. Think audience-centric, think ideal client avatar, and that's who you're speaking to. Make your writing go that way. I use Grammarly. Grammarly is great for helping you pick out things that are a problem. Now, Grammarly is not the end-all be-all. I edit myself over Grammarly often. I don't always go with what they say, but it's good to have a check and balance system in everything that you do, really. If you post on social media, check yourself. A lot of companies have that check system where you write it and somebody else approves it. This is why it's a check and balance. So think about having your own check and balance for these things. Also, for editing, a good tip is to wait a few days before you go back and go in and edit. So I give myself a false deadline that's early. Then I know I have to have it done. And then I set it aside for as long as I can, hopefully at least 24 hours. And then you have a fresh eye to edit again. And as I may have mentioned, if you caught the tip about reading things out loud, you'll notice fumbling, where you fumble a lot if you read things out loud. This kitty back here, back behind me, hasn't heard me read out loud all that often, but that's because I'm on a kitty sitting break, and that's not my kitty, even though I love him. That's the goose back there. See, goosey goose, my kitty baby. Anyway, read out loud, even if it's to your cats. Okay, that's the point. Read it out loud. Make your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, kitty, cat, dog, whatever, say it out loud, because you will definitely catch your stumbling points when you do so. And so that's another great tip for you. And then again, it'll keep you relevant with the present tense stuff. It'll keep you catching your ticks if you eliminate that, and own and words that everybody kind of does, uses more often than they should. I see it all the time. So pick up on that. And when I'm struggling about direction a little bit, or when I forget why and who I'm writing for, I always refer to my pal Ann Handley, who taught me a lot about writing for the web in her book Everybody Writes. So I want to share with you a slideshow that what it is it's quotes from Ann's book that particularly rang true to me and ring as good reminders. I mean, I look at this thing every once in a while for my own sake to keep on track and stay on track and remember what's important in presenting your writing to others. So let's take a look right now at this this screen share with Ann's thing. And I'm going to go ahead and give you that screen share and not me. Okay. So let's see what Ann, who's really a smart lady, has to say about how to write. I call it heart-stopping content, because you want content that stops people. You want people to stop on the scroll and check out your content. Do you not? Yes, you do. And so you want heart-stopping content. And that's one of the things that Ann kind of really threw into my head, if you want to put it that way. Heart-stopping content that stops the scroll, and that's what you're after. Also, I love this. This could be for tattoos, but this in the context of today, this is for before you publish. Think before you ink. This is so important because, I mean, if you're just starting, go ahead, put some things out there, write, practice your blogging. But once you get on track where you're thinking about your blog as a part of your content marketing, as a marketing machine and part of your business operation, really, as a key part of your digital marketing, then you will take this more into consideration and you will really become one with the concept of think before you ink. I love this, Anne. Even though we're talking about writing and not tattoos, I think it's important. And of course, one thing over tattoos that writing has is you can upgrade, you can evolve, you can do better, you can edit. You can edit things at the moment, 5 minutes after you publish them. It's okay to update and edit at any time and at all times. So I want you to do that if you can. Next, let's talk about why it matters to the people you reach. So when you're writing, this should be the thought at the top of your head. Why does it matter to the people you are trying to reach? If you're not writing to matter to someone that you're talking to, then you're just wasting your time, unless you're blogging for fun and not for business. So really think about the people you're trying to reach. Hold them in your hand, caress them, and understand them, and talk to them in your writing. I love that you have to remember, why does this matter to those people I'm trying to reach? And to do so, you might even want to swap places with your reader and be a skeptic of your own work. And I love that, because I don't know about you, but I feel like my work is never as good as I want it to be. It always has room for improvement. It can always be better. But if you put yourself in the reader's shoes, then you become more aware of what you're doing to them. Are you enlightening them, or are you torturing them? So again, keep your writing succinctly to matter. Each word has a purpose, and you're trying to enlighten and be in that reader's shoes. Give them something they need and want. Get out of your own head and into your readers or customers. Same thing. Get out of your head and into theirs, guys. That's where you're going to get it. So if you infuse your content, and this is one of my faves, really, Anne, if you infuse your content with heart and soul and integrity, and if you layer it with a warm blanket of trust, voila. Won't you reach people better with that? And I think content with heart, marketing with heart, business with heart, with soul, with integrity is a key to any business, really. Over decades of a business career, I believe that to be true. So when you're writing, guys, if you're specific, that really helps. People need to know exactly what it is. They need to know the specific details that can help. They want to know the nitty gritty. It's one thing to say blah, blah, blah. It's another thing to say, I think blah, 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 because blah, 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 support, details, information. And here's how you do it. Specific details, support, information. So you might want to try to keep that in mind. And this is where research comes into play, and the best articles are a combination of your ideas and what you can also research to back your ideas, also specific details on how you learned and why you see it the way you do, specific details to prove your point or to show your point by showing examples. There's so many ways that you can blog by giving and write by giving specific details that can help. And again, don't use those non-specific phrases and words and favorites, little darlings of verbiage that you are used to using. Try to come out of the box. Try to be a little more specific and enlightening. And this is the thing, guys. Put the flesh and blood on the dry bones of a so-called solution. And I don't know about you guys, but I've written about some dry kind of topics for some dry kind of businesses, or so you would think, until you write about it with a little flesh, a little blood, a little inspiration, a little connection to the people where the solution helps them. Look, the solution might be something dreary, like, how to get rid of water coming into your home, for example. But to people who need that solution, the words, the flesh, the blood, the way that you let them know that you understand that they need dry bones, they need to be dry, the way you explain it so it means something to them and connects with them, makes you able to sell the solution to their problem with your product. So it's again about, taking that topic, meld it with the consumer, the client, or the person you're speaking to, that audience, that so-called one person that you're speaking to, and get with it, make it come alive, give it the flesh, the blood, take away the dry bones and make it the story. And so she says, these are all Anne Handley quotes. She says, specific story-based content adds a heartbeat and a pulse to an idea. Just like I say, your blog is the heart of your website. And a website without a blog is like a heart without a beat. So is your blog post or your writing. If it doesn't give you something specific, something story-based, something with that heart, that blood, that flesh that we just talked about, those things that are beyond the dry written word, things that actually connect on an emotional level and people can relate and understand and connect with that content. Design and content, guys, are not separate processes. They are best friends and life partners, and they deserve to be treated as such. And in fact, this is something that I run into sometimes when I'm working with clients. They want just writing, and I want to see the space where this writing is going to go, because I may need to shorten the copy for it to look right in the section that it's going to be displayed in. I might need to draw something out to add a little more beef to it to look right. I may want to do any number of kind of edits to make that design and content process one. So I love that Anne says design and content are not separate processes. And so if you're a writer, if you're the content section and not the design section of an operation, remember that they must work together. They're best friends and life partners, she said, and they deserve to be treated as such. So when you're doing the content part or the design part, always think of the other guy. And then you'll have a full-bodied, full-figured situation with your content and your design, all working towards that ultimate goal of user experience. And she's talking about Canva here. And I love Canva. You love Canva. Most everybody designs with Canva. And I remember, of course, when no one ever heard of Canva, and now everyone has heard of Canva. Still, it's one of the best tools available to you. And I love what she says here. Quote, Ann Handley, I particularly like the simple, intuitive, the simple, intuitive, it's also innovative, guys, the simple, intuitive interface that puts magic wands in the design hand of muggles. And I can attest for that myself. And of course, I love Canva. So just saying. And this is another thing to remember. Again, make the words count. Make the meaning count. Make each sentence have a place. Don't just write to write. Don't just post to post. Less is so often more. And again, also in design. People get hung up with that. So, okay, writers tend to equate editing with grammar when it's so much more than that. And it is. It's not just the grammar. It's the use of words to tell the story or to connect emotionally, to create a connection with people. It's so much more than grammar. However, I think your grammar and your spelling do reflect on you as a business, and so they are very important. And next is my favorite quote, and you'll see why when you see what it is. Are you ready? Add Blog Bling. Yes, you heard it here. Add Blog Bling. You need to make your blog shine. You need to make people want to check it out. You want it to be the shining centerpiece, the content hub of your business, and it's no doubt a central part of your content marketing. And of course, this is all from Everybody Writes, Ann Handley's book, and the guide to creating ridiculously good content. So pick up the book if you haven't already. It's a go-to resource. And these are my favorite quotes from the book. So the key to being a better writer is essentially to be a more productive one. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can improve your writing. Every time you write, you improve. And even if you're a good writer, which I kind of thought I was a decent writer when I started and wanted to do it as a professional writer. I thought I'm a pretty good writer. But what I've learned is that I'm not that good. There's so much more. There's so much better. And there's so much further to go. But the other cool part, you guys, is I feel like I'm improving over the years. I started kind of writing seriously in 2014, taking copywriting courses in 2015, writing, starting to write and get paid for writing. And what I've learned is that you can keep getting better. No matter how good you might already be, you can keep getting better. And that's one of the reasons why I want you to join me with How to Bling Your Blog and Feed That Hog, because your blog can get better too. And we can work on it together, by the way. Okay, so this is the greatest. She says, Ann Handley says, there is no one way to write. Remember? Adapt and amend and reject these guidelines as you discover what works for your audience and for you. And do you notice how she says for your audience before she says for you? But I really do think that there is credence in doing what works for you as well. For example, I'm not that great on video. I'm practicing, you guys. I'm a better writer. Sometimes I have to remember that writing is my writing is where I belong. It's my lane. But I'm still trying to let you know and trying to expand out upon that. But you have to figure out where you fit and where your audience fits and where you can connect the two. And that's so important in your business endeavors, in your writing endeavors, and in your digital marketing. You can't do well in a place where you're uncomfortable, and you can't do well in a place where you understand and reach an audience and have a target audience. So there's always one way or another way. That's the thing. And that's another reason why How to Bling Your Blog and Feed That Hog is so cool as far as a course, because I'm not giving you the only way. I will show you best practices. I will give you examples, but you and I and the other people involved in the course will figure out together, or help you figure out which way works best for you, because every business is different. Every audience is different, even though people think that everybody's their audience. That's not the case. And so you really need to figure out one way or another. And again, it's about what works for you and for your audience. So remember, your value is not what you do or what you sell. It's what you do for your customers. And I think, don't you, that that's a perfect way to end this presentation? It's about what you do for your customers. It's about what you write to help people. And so those are my quotes from the Annisms that I love. So now I'm back. Oh, look, I'm back. And I think that I recorded that without showing you me in the background, but I was very excited about a lot of the things I was telling you, because I think Anne helps me to remember to stay on track with just those few quotes from the book. And I think they're really helpful. And I think that if you get to learn about your writing tics and you can edit better for yourself and for your clients, you'll also have more effective blog work and more effective work with what you do with your writing. And writing, again, the core, the very core of what you do. So make sure you tune in to, let's see, I don't know if I can, to take the course, please. How to Bling Your Blog and Feed That Hog. Make sure you check out the Right Mix for Business website, rightmixforbusiness.com. If I move my big head out of there, you can see that better. rightmixforbusiness.com. And make sure you check out the Mizzy Biz, Mix, Sizzle, and Shake Your Business podcast.com, mizzybiz.com, to find out more about the podcast episodes and the shows. And remember that you need to bling your blog to engage with people and connect with an audience to gain business. And so that's why you're going to want to join me on the Blog Transformation Highway and take this course with me starting next week. Hope to see you there. Thank you. Thanks for checking out this Right Mix for Business presentation. Remember, if you need to bling your blog, or you need help with any content assets for your business, Right Mix for Business. Yep,